broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon to everyone who's joined early. We're going to begin our presentation in just one moment. I will give you some instructions and introduce our panelists in just a moment. So we just ask that you bear with us. Everyone on the line is muted. And I wanted to also let you know that this broadcast is being recorded, and the recording will be shared by next week to everyone that's registered. Thank you again for joining early, and we will get started in about 30 seconds. Good afternoon again, and thank you all for joining us for an inside look at modern giving. We are very pleased to have so many of you on the call this afternoon. My name is Kim Young, and I am the Vice President of Business Development for America's Charities. I'll be your moderator for this webinar. Joining me today are Gideon Taub, CEO and founder of Pinkaloo, and Jim Starr, President and CEO of America's Charities. Gideon, would you say hello so that everyone could hear your voice?
Definitely. Kim, thanks for pulling this together, and everyone, thanks for joining us. It's an honor and an exciting opportunity to be partnering with America's Charities, and excited to share more about that with you all today.
Thank you. And Jim, would you say a quick hello also so we can get to hear what you sound like?
I sure can. Hello, everybody. I'm excited to be here and talk a little bit more about what modern giving is.
Great. And now that everyone's heard your voices, to our attendees today, we would love to hear a little bit from you. So we have put together a brief poll question that we would like for you to answer. I'm going to launch the poll. The question is simply, which statement best describes you? My organization has a workplace giving program. My nonprofit raises money by workplace giving, or you want to. Both A and B, or I'm considering starting a workplace giving program, and I don't know really why I'm here today. I'm going to launch the poll question, and we'd love for you to share your answers with us now. And while you're answering those questions, I want to remind everyone again, this webinar is designed to be conversational. So in addition to the poll, we will pause periodically to invite you to ask your questions for the panelists. We also want to point out to you that on your screen at the bottom right, you will see the question box where you can type in your question, and those questions will come to me. We'll raise those for the panelists and get your answers back to you. Okay. So has everyone gotten their questions and their answers into the question? We're going to close the poll in just 1 second. Looks like some people are still answering. So I'm going to count down. 3, 2, 1. We're going to close the poll and look at who's on the call today. So the poll is closed, and we're sharing back the answers. Can everyone see the poll results?
Yes, we can.
Great. It looks like about half and half between nonprofits wanting to raise money by workplace giving and those who have a program already, so that's great. And then there are a few of you, of course, that are considering a program. So we're excited to have a diverse group with us today. Thank you for participating in that poll, and we will move on and get started. Again, a couple of housekeeping items that I'd like to share with you. We will be live tweeting. So we ask that you participate in the live tweet by using the hashtag #ModernGiving. Again, you can submit your questions to us by using the questions feature at the bottom right of the GoToWebinar. The Twitter hashtag is there, and then at the end of the program by next week, we will send you a link with the webinar recording and the presentation. That will come to you by next week. Thank you. Let's look at the agenda for the day. Again, what's modern giving? That's the question of the day, and that's what this conversation is all about. We'll talk about how it works. We'll take some of your questions and answer them, and then we'll talk about next steps. So keeping it nice and simple for a great conversation with our panelists. Again, I'm going to ask Jim Starr to just share with us a little bit more about America's Charities, and then Gideon will follow with an introduction of Pinkaloo and how all of this got started. Jim?
Great, Kim, thank you. The simplest way I like to describe who America's Charities is and what we do is that we are focused on inspiring organizations and employees to support the causes they care about. We work with and connect companies, nonprofits, and donors. And as a nonprofit ourselves, we know the philanthropic space extremely well, as we've been serving companies and nonprofits for over 35 years. And we're excited about our new partnership with Pinkaloo, bringing a different approach to employee giving.
Excellent. Thanks, Jim. And so to tell you the quick background of Pinkaloo and how we got down this journey, it really started trying to solve a problem that initially I faced myself as an early 30s employee at a company, and as I started talking to peers of mine, quickly realized that it was something that others were facing as well. And to really boil it down, I didn't feel great about my personal philanthropy and how I was giving back to the community, and I wanted to be more engaged, and I wanted to be doing more. And I didn't feel like I had the right tools to do that. I didn't have the right tools to be budgeting for my giving. I didn't have the right tools to be discovering great charities and great organizations that aligned with my passions. And as I started talking to peers of mine, this theme came out where we felt like our giving was reactive rather than proactive. It was reactive in that we respond to a friend asking us to support an organization, or be reactive in response to hearing a terrible tragedy or a natural disaster. And we felt like millennials want to be more engaged, but we didn't have the right tools to do so. And so really, we set out to create a program for employees that helped address those points. But at the same time, as we were talking to peers who worked at companies that had workplace giving programs, a theme that kept coming up was that they would participate in the annual program in the fall, and oftentimes by next spring or next summer, didn't remember what organizations they were supporting, how much they were donating, and sort of really forgotten about it. So we wanted to create a tool that met the needs of employees and met them where they were at with their giving, but also provided more engagement throughout the year for the companies sponsoring the programs as well. And so that was really what we set out to solve, and what the Modern Giving platform is all about.
Great. Thanks for that. Jim, how does this connect with some of the insights that America's Charities has learned over the years about, why employees want to get involved?
Yeah, Kim, thank you. Great question. At America's Charities, we've been conducting research into the employee giving efforts of companies and nonprofits since 2014. So we've learned quite a bit through our own direct research. And we know that American employees are changing, as are their attitudes about workplace giving. For example, example, we know from our experience and our own research that employees want to work for companies that care. They want to engage in their community, and they're looking for an employer to provide that opportunity for them through both volunteering and giving. And the expectations of employees are clear as well. They want more control over their own philanthropy through the workplace. They expect choice on who they want to support. In fact, a lack of choice is the number one reason employees don't give through the workplace. We've also found that there are several factors that make for a positive giving experience. We know that employees are demanding more information and more results about the nonprofits that they're supporting and their impact. They want to know more about these organizations, about who they are, as well as the difference that they're making in their communities. And as mentioned earlier, they also want to be able to choose the organizations that they want to support. In the past, some companies ran programs that would restrict the employee's ability to pick a nonprofit to just a select group. And today, employees want to be able to pick the organization and causes that they care about and those that are providing needed services in their communities. And they also want flexibility. They want to choose how they donate through either payroll deduction, by check, by credit card, by other means. They also want to choose who they want to support and donate to. And they also want to choose when they're providing that donation to the nonprofit. And so they're looking for maximum flexibility so that they can be empowered in their own philanthropy and have control over all of those decision points. And lastly, what's interesting is that there's a large number of people who don't participate, don't donate because they feel that, they really don't give enough to really make a difference. And we know that that's not true, particularly through employee giving programs. Every dollar adds up and has tremendous impact on the nonprofits that are supported and, more importantly, on those that those nonprofits are serving. And Gideon, that's why we're really excited about modern giving. It's convenient. It provides the ultimate choice. It is flexible, and it empowers employees to maximize their own philanthropy. And it's fun. So, Gideon, could you tell us a little bit more about, what is modern giving? How exactly does it work?
Yeah, that's definitely perfect. I think you teed it up well. As we were building the product out, we were really trying to solve the problem that you identified over the handful of the last slides. And I know over a year or so that we've been talking and working together, these are the themes that you and I have both really been excited about trying to solve for individuals and for employers. But really, we built modern giving to be a little bit more fun, to be familiar, and as you said, to meet employees where they are. And one of the key differences, I think, between a program like Modern Giving and some of the other programs that have been available traditionally is that our program feels a lot more like a health savings account or a retirement account where individuals can budget for their giving, put money aside, but they don't initially need to determine what organizations they want it to support. They can have it sitting in a giving account and then later choose what organizations they want to distribute those funds out to. But if you move ahead one more, we can take folks through a pretty simple process that we usually see as we onboard companies. And so, typically there's 4 steps to it. We obviously start with configuring the program to meet the employer's needs. That can include everything from integrating as closely and tightly into payroll as possible, but also identifying those charities and organizations that have an aligned mission with the company's culture and values, or that the company has had a long-standing relationship with, that can be promoted causes that are pushed out to the employees. So, as Jim was saying earlier, there's the option or the opportunity for employees to support any organization, but still the ability for the company to highlight and promote organizations that have an aligned mission or values. From there, employees obviously enroll and choose to participate in it, and they can fund their account anytime they want, whether that's through payroll or through one-off contributions that they make into their Modern Giving account by linking their checking account or through a credit card. As I said before, they then can carry a balance, and then as they choose to distribute funds out of their account, they can do that across any 501c3 in the country from directly within the app. So really, as we said before, meeting individuals where they are, allowing them to donate anytime, anywhere, to any organization, from that account balance. Of course, they can set up recurring donations as well out to organizations that they want to support each month as well. And one of the nice things is that it's a place for them to keep all of their tax receipts together in one place. Really, one of the goals of this product is that it's a way for individuals to manage all of their charitable giving in one place, so that anytime they want to make a donation, they come into their modern giving account, they have a balance, or they top up their account, and then they distribute the funds out to any organization that they want to support. And one of the nice pieces that provides is the opportunity for companies to have a really rich data set where they can understand the cause areas and the charities that their employees really are passionate about, because they can see 100% of the giving that their employees are doing.
That's excellent. Sounds extremely easy to use. Jim, what were some of the things that led America's Charities to get involved with this that you see the employees looking for?
Yeah, so what is really unique about modern giving and what Pinkaloo has done is they've created a tool that maximizes that flexibility for the employee while still providing a great program and information back to the employer as well. It's kind of like, so it's all based on this concept of a giving account. And some people, describe it as, it's kind of like having a health savings account that's got a Venmo to it where you can pay out to charities as you fund it. Other people have asked, well, is it like a donor advised fund? And, my answer to that is that it's not, it operates like a donor advised fund, but it's not. One of the biggest clear distinctions is that it is not a wealth management tool. It is a philanthropy management tool. It's not a place to park dollars, have it invested, et cetera, et cetera. It's a place where you put your money that you want to give to charities, and then throughout the course of the year or over time, you're deciding, what charities do I want to support? Hey, there's a great campaign that this charity's doing. I want to donate $100 to them. I can do it right out of my philanthropy account, through my modern giving account. And so you're not reaching for your checkbook or credit card on the spur of the moment. You've already budgeted for it. You've already funded it. So it's ultra convenient in that way. The other interesting thing about it is it's got some kind of cool little features to it that kind of make it really fun. Gideon and his team have built in a lot of social aspects, some gamification, the ability to do crowdfunding. So as a modern giving account holder, I can create a link and send that out to my friends and my social network and ask them to participate in a fundraising campaign through my giving account to a particular cause or to a particular charity. And there's other features like chip in and earning badges. Can you talk a little bit more about some of those aspects?
Yeah, for sure. As we were building it, and as you touched upon, we felt like a lot of the philanthropy solutions across the spectrum were a little too buttoned up and didn't really relate to the next generation in the way that they like managing apps and managing their budgeting. So that really is what led us to build in some of those social, collaborative, and gamification pieces to it. And so to start with it, one of the features that we actually, I'm surprised, hasn't come up yet is the concept of a giving feed, where an individual employee can choose to share their donations to the rest of the company if they want to, obviously fully optional. But we get great feedback as that being a way for employees to have a sense of the kinds of causes that their peers care about. We hear great anecdotes about two employees realizing that they both have a passion for, children's reading advocacy, or for, they both have family members suffering from lupus, through seeing donations happening through this giving feed. And that's also where those chip-ins come in that Jim was describing, where if I see one of my coworkers make a donation to the Lupus Foundation of America, as an example, I might choose to chip in and take $3, $5, $10 from my account balance and add it into their donation. And what started off as a $25 or $50 gift might end up being 2 or 3x that by the time a handful of employees all join in. So that giving feed is a key part of that. And then, as Jim also described, the ability for individuals to share their gifts outside of the company with friends and family and invite them to join them as well. And one of the neat things is that still is branded with the company's branding. So reinforcing this is the way that this company likes to support their employees. This is the kinds of tools and programs that employees at this organization receive as working there obviously only helps to reinforce the impact that company is having in the community, and also helps their individual employees meet their philanthropic goals and support the organizations and the causes that they really care about. And then the last feature we're touching on here, you did mention the badges. And so we created a handful of badges, everything from when somebody makes their first contribution into their account to the first time they chip into a peer's account to the first time they support an organization focused on the environment. And as we look ahead to 2019, we keep being asked for new capabilities, and one of them being the opportunity for companies to create custom badges so that if they really want to have their employees support a specific charity or a specific cause area, they can incent that through a customized badge that they'll offer in their company. So, we'd love to share some of the vision as well, and after this, there's an opportunity to do a demo. We can dive into where the platform's headed as well.
That's pretty cool, Gideon. And the other thing that you guys did when you developed your platform was, right out of the box, you have an app. So it's not just mobile friendly. There is an actual app for it, so you can literally control your philanthropy on your phone.
Yep, exactly. And again, the nice piece there is once an employee logs in, it's still 100% white labeled, 100% configured with the company's branding and configuration. So that consistent feel, but meeting employees where they are and allowing them to support the causes they care about whenever they want to.
Excellent. I want to also remind the audience that they can ask questions. And so if you've got burning questions, please start sending them in now so that I can share them with our panelists. And before we move fully into Q&A, I just wanted to also ask Jim one more question, too. The platform seems to be very donor-centric. Love that. Love the different ways that people can chip in and invite their colleagues, friends, family, and others to get involved. But how does America's Charities Modern Giving help companies to further cultivate those relationships with their donors, as well as help the employees to become ambassadors for their companies?
Yeah, so like many employee giving programs, your employees are kind of they're armed with the fact that their company is providing them an opportunity to support their community. And that's something people feel good about, they're going to tell their family and friends about, and get engaged. And what Modern Giving also does is, through the things like its crowdfunding ability, extends that philanthropic brand of the company beyond just their employees, but using their employees as the ambassadors for that. The other thing that it does is it does provide all of the useful information that employers are looking for with their employee giving programs. So the employer will know, what are the causes that my employees are caring about? Are there organizations that are being well supported by our employees that perhaps we need to explore a deeper relationship or partnership with? How do we go about doing that? So it's providing that brand value back to the employer, providing the information about the philanthropic activity of their employees back to the employer, while also providing that maximum flexibility to the individual employee.
Great. So it sounds like there's some reporting capability that's really built into this platform. Gideon, you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, thank you. I touched on it briefly before, but one of the most important things and feedback we get from companies we work with is the ability for them to really understand the causes and the cause areas that their employees care about. And I think coming back to some of the data and research that Jim highlighted at the beginning is reflects that in terms of employees not wanting to feel like there's specific causes that are being pushed down on them from the C-level, but rather that they can support the organizations that they care about. And then in turn, we want to make that data and insights available back to corporate leaders, chief human resource officers, chief people officers, so that they can allow that to inform their own philanthropy at the company, allow them to organize their volunteer days to be at organizations that their employees care about, and at the same time understanding do employees at one of our offices have a different set of passions than employees in a different part of the country, or even do employees in our engineering group have a different set of passion areas than employees in our sales group. And so really delivering that back is part of our goal and our vision. And one other piece to add, building on Jim's last comments, but there is obviously the opportunity to automate donation matching as well, and there's a few different ways that those programs can be configured, both to fully empower employees with matching to any organizations, but also the ability to highlight and choose specific organizations that companies want to support matching to that they have an alignment with or a long-standing relationship, and so that's also a part of those programs as well.
Great. I love that matching feature because that increases the contributions all across the board and the impact both for the company as well as for those nonprofits that are receiving those donations. Excellent. Got a couple of questions coming in. Thank you, attendees, for those questions, and we're going to move right into Q&A now for the next few minutes. One of the questions is regarding the app. Can the nonprofits, the charities, share the app on their websites? How can they get involved with helping to get more people engaged using that app?
Yeah, I'll take that one. Thanks, Kim. I mean, that's definitely an option and an opportunity, and I think we'd welcome the chance for Pinkaloo, America's Charities, and your charity to have a conversation around what that looks like and how America's Charities can help facilitate more fundraising and more gifts through a technology like ours.
Great. Keep those questions coming. Another question that has come in, this is really about the culture. A lot of things are being driven, it seems, by next generation, millennials and so on, in terms of technology advances. How would someone integrate this into a culture that uses more traditional models for giving? Gideon, you want to start with that and maybe Jim pile on?
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm sort of in this millennial bucket 100% that is driving some of the changing kinds of programs we're seeing. But that being said, we're seeing companies use the promoted causes, use some donation matching campaigns like we were talking about before to essentially complement their existing programs with a tool like this. So, for one example, if a company has a long-standing relationship with one or two local charities, they obviously want to use the promoted causes to highlight those to their employees, allow those organizations to come in and talk about why the work they do is important, and then they might even choose to support donation matching up to a certain amount for each employee to those organizations only. So for those employees that are aligned and are passionate about that kind of work, they can continue to support those organizations and receive donation matching funds and those kinds of capabilities. But at the same time, the company is still providing a tool and a platform that allows all of their other employees who might not choose to support that cause to still be able to engage in the workplace giving program and ultimately allow the company to get access to that data that we were talking about before so that they can understand the causes that are important to those employees. And one of the things we often hear is that there's no better way to understand what really matters to employees and where they put their charitable dollars when they're given the flexibility to donate it anywhere. So that really is valuable data that can allow organizations to evolve their traditional philanthropy campaigns and culture through the insights that they access through that.
Yeah, it is a great point, Kitty. And I think the other aspect of employee giving is that there are elements that are just fundamental or foundational to a successful effort, regardless of the technology that you're using to facilitate it. And it goes back to things like communication, promotion, awareness of the opportunity to participate by leveraging, the tool. How engaged is the leadership of the organization and supportive of the effort? And so all of those aspects, you could say, well, those are traditional pieces of workplace giving. I wouldn't necessarily call them traditional. They are foundational. And so you can introduce a new tool that's got some different aspects to it while still leveraging some of those foundational elements.
I love that foundational piece and thinking of it that way. We've got a few more questions. The next is, you mentioned the crowdfunding tools and the crowdfunding capability that's built into this. We also are seeing in parts of the country today where there are disasters that are going on. Does America's Charities Modern Giving support pop-up fundraisers and disaster relief? How can it be used for these types of things, particularly when we're seeing more and more of that, unfortunately?
Well, I think obviously leveraging the crowdfunding aspect of the tool is one easy and direct way an individual Modern Giving account holder can do this. Selecting a charity to support that's providing disaster relief and recovery services, and sharing that crowdfunding link to their family and friends in their social network. Gideon, what are some of the other kind of other tools that the platform has that can support kind of pop-up fundraisers that may be more company-wide as opposed to just individual employee-driven?
Yeah, that's great. And I actually dropped for 1 second, so I only cut the last half of that I'm back on now. And so, yeah, to dive in with a few of the organic use cases that we've seen pop up that have been pretty exciting. One partner used the chip-in feature that you were talking about earlier to support their Jeans Friday administration. So at that company, somebody would kick off Friday by making a small donation to whatever organization they'd chosen to support for Jeans Friday for that day, and then everyone who chose to wear jeans used the chip-in feature to put their $5 in, and it was fully automated through the program, which is a pretty neat way to administer that and not have to go around the jar or deal with cash or anything like that. That's cool. We've seen some companies on a quarterly basis, they have a team of 5 or 10 employees who get together and choose what the promoted causes for the quarter are going to be, and they get up in front of an all-hands, or they send an email out and highlight why they chose the organizations that they are highlighting and promoting out to the company, as well as a way to just drive more engagement and more awareness of the program on an ongoing basis. So those are two that really jump out as pretty neat ones that we've seen pop up over the last 3-6 months.
That's great. We've got just a couple more questions in queue, and remind the audience of any others that they have, please to log those in. We're going to take these last couple, and then we'll probably wrap up. For the nonprofits that are on the line, how can they leverage Modern Giving to foster donor stewardship? And I think you've spoken to that a little bit, but I want to make sure that that this audience also knows and is comfortable that this is very useful for them as well.
Yeah, that's a great question, because one of the things that's important in any employee giving program is content. And because one of the things that we found is that employees are looking for more information about charities and nonprofits so that they can make a decision on who they want to support. And so having your message visible is important. And it's one of the things that we do with our member nonprofits that are part of America's Charities is, we make sure that they're given as many opportunities as possible. We help support that to have that visibility, on our platforms, including Modern Giving. So that's one step is making sure that you're just visible to donors on the platform about your mission, having very crisp and concise and clear statements about what you do and the impact that it has. If you have the opportunity to put pictures in there, those kinds of things. And then the other one is, once you have someone that's supporting you, it goes back to, fundraising 101 is first you need to ask as many times as you can, and then you need to say thank you. And, through, when employees donate through Modern Giving and they opt to have their information shared with the nonprofit that they've supported, we at America's Charities provide that information to the nonprofit so that they can know who's supporting them and can acknowledge them. They can thank them. and steward them as an employee donor, not as your regular annual fund donor, because there are differences between someone who's donating through their employee giving program and someone who's writing a check at the end of the year for $100. So you want to make sure that you're stewarding them properly and leveraging the information that is coming out of the platform to you is incredibly important.
Excellent. We have one final question that I'm going to take, and I think these kind of go together. There's interest in learning more, interest in knowing, how people can get a demo, how they can, for the nonprofits, how they can find the app and start using it, and how they can access modern giving altogether. And I think that's a great segue to just providing the audience some information on next steps. So for those of you on this call, we would love to invite you to participate with us for a demo, one-to-one, if that's what you'd like to do, to learn more and to learn how you can access modern giving for your company or your nonprofit and your employees or donors. So www.charities.org, Modern Giving, is where you can send additional questions or request a demo. During the poll, we learned that there are several of you on the phone that this is brand new to. You may just be starting a program. And so we've got some information on our website for you as well. There's a free download called Building Leadership Buy-In, and you can access that also on America's Charities website, charities.org, and then Building Leadership. Again, we thank everyone for joining us today, and particularly want to say thank you to Gideon and Jim for sharing all this great information with us about America's Charities Modern Giving, powered by Pinkaloo. We hope to hear from all of you again soon. Thank you, and this concludes our webinar.